with y'all? It's your boy NeohXO bringing you guys a Boruto episode 171 review. Now, I usually only cover the manga, but a lot of Boruto fans have been coming to the channel, so I've thought about covering the anime. So we'll see how this video does. Now, getting straight into the anime, Boruto starts off with his rematch against Sourdoughs. I think this was a really cool fight. We see Boruto using his wind style Rasengan, and at first it's not working against Sourdoughs because we know Sourdoughs is pretty strong. I mean, he's not as powerful as some other characters like Kakashi. That's why Kakashi can pretty much feel comfortable with him fighting against Boruto while Kakashi is watching. Now, I don't think Kakashi would have necessarily put Boruto against Sourdoughs if he thought Boruto was going to die. So that means Kakashi also had some confidence in Boruto, not necessarily saying that Boruto would win or lose, but the fact that Boruto actually had a chance against Sourdoughs. Now, I know there are some people who are saying like Boruto already defeated Sourdoughs, but that's not the case. He did. In a way, he did defeat him, but it wasn't by himself. If you remember, Sarada and Mitsuki pulled up, and that was basically the end. Who knows what would have happened if Sarada and Mitsuki never pulled up to give Boruto a hand whenever he was first fighting Sourdoughs. Now, Sourdoughs, his sentence was supposed to be reduced if he were able to defeat Boruto, but he failed. So I don't really know whether or not they're going to actually reduce his sentence. Probably not, but there's a possibility. You know, sometimes the Hidden Leaf Village can go kind of soft on some people. So basically, Boruto uses his wind style Rasengan on Sourdoughs. Now, obviously, this doesn't work the first time because that's just kind of how things go. It's kind of like you got to keep on trying before you're able to succeed. That's kind of the overall message that I'm getting. And Boruto basically did not succeed with his first attempt with the wind style Rasengan. So basically, he did not give up. That's a major theme in this episode. He did not give up, and instead what he decided to do was he came up with this new technique called the Condensed Rasengan, and I don't know if that's going to be the permanent name, but that's what they referred to it as in this episode, a condensed version of the Rasengan. Now, essentially what this is the opposite of the massive Rasengan. So instead of making the Rasengan super large, they instead decrease the size of the Rasengan and compress it all into a smaller form. Now, this has a lot of force in it, but it just doesn't appear as big because it's condensed very small, so it's very focused. We know this technique is powerful because Kakashi said that if Sourdoughs wasn't using his wind style jutsu that repels, basically it's essentially he has a wind style jutsu that's a shield. If he was not using this, Boruto would have killed him, and that's coming straight directly from Kakashi's mouth. Now, it seems like Boruto really did get a lot more powerful. Even though Sourdoughs said it was only by a tad, Sourdoughs was just underestimating Boruto, and we know that Boruto actually got a lot stronger from this training. Hypothetically or metaphorically speaking, he moved the mountains. So, switching over to the other side of the episode, Sarada and Sasuke are continuing their training. Now, Sakura sees this and she goes and she sort of interrupts their training. Now, we know last time she interrupted Sarada's training, Sarada got upset, but this time it was different. She offered, instead of interrupting Sarada's training, she actually offered to help out with Sarada's training. So she basically took over the role that Sasuke was playing, and Sasuke kind of took a back seat and was kind of the observer, because we need to see some different aspects of Sarada besides the Sharingan. Now, I know that's a main focus of her character because she's an Uchiha, but she also has Haruno blood running through her veins. So Sakura served to kind of help her more with her chakra control, because we know that without good chakra control, the Sharingan is going to drain your chakra. We have seen so many times how much the Sharingan can drain a person's chakra, and it seems Sarada's kind of getting a little upset, but she doesn't really let that bother her. She's trying to ultimately unlock more power of the Sharingan. She's even curious. She's even shown interest in wanting to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, we know that's going to be a while if ever that happens. she might have to unlock it in some type of different way. There's so many theories I can say about that, what's going on with her. But right now, let's just focus on her now. She has a one-tomo Sharingan. She's trying to progress it. And Sasuke tells her in this episode, he's like, hey, don't even worry about it. You're doing a really good job. Now, the Sharingan is just something you can't just wake up and master. So I completely understand. I'm really impressed by what Sarada is able to do in this episode. Now, basically, she's fighting a lot of sparring against her mother, Sakura, and we see that Sakura is really a lot more advanced than Sarada. And I want to mention this because a lot of people are under the impression that these new school generation characters are Jonin level, and I don't know. In this episode, it doesn't appear that that's the case, because we know that Sakura is definitely Jonin level, and Sarada really wasn't much competition for Sakura. Sakura pretty easily overpowered Sarada. Now, that just shows that Sarada has more training and growing to do. Ultimately, obviously, I can see that Sarada is much stronger than her mother at the same age. So she has a lot more potential in my eyes, at least. So she ends up losing a couple of the sparring matches against her mother, and what ends up being the solution is she uses the copy ability from the Sharingan to kind of emulate her mother's power or ability, and they end up canceling each other out because Sarada copied her movements essentially. So they pretty much ended up canceling each other out, and that's basically more or less what the episode ends off. One thing I want to point out too is at the end of the episode, basically after all was said and done, Sakura was like, now we really begin the training. I'm paraphrasing here. Now we really begin the training. I remember when Lady Tsunade and I used to train, and she would continue training even after I broke bones, since she would be able to heal me up anyways. I like when they throw in nods to the kind of original Naruto and Naruto Shippuden series, because that's just some extra information that we didn't see, or we didn't, think about, or just to give us a reminder, Now, last but not least, we can't forget about Mitsuki. At the very, very end of the episode, there's a moment with Mitsuki and Orochimaru and Log. So basically, Mitsuki has sustained a lot of damage, and Orochimaru plans to pretty much give him some new parts because his old parts failed due to him using that ability when he's not ready to do so. And it seems like Orochimaru really cares for Mitsuki, and I like seeing that. And Mitsuki actually wakes up. We know that he had a very tough fight against Deepa, so I don't blame him for sleeping all of this time, but he finally wakes up, and that's really cool to see. Also, I just want to throw that in there, this in there too. I really like Orochimaru's outfit in this series. I've never said that before, but I really like Orochimaru's outfit, and I really like Orochimaru in this series a lot. He's different, but he's still the same Orochimaru we knew. Now, I do want to touch on this very, very briefly. The Hashirama cells came from Orochimaru's old research facility, and that's how they got stolen. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's been your boy NeohXO, and I'm out.